specifically designed to appeal to the hot rod tastes of all people in the 1990s. I'm talking about the Plymouth Prowler. Behind me is the Plymouth Prowler, and it is even crazier in person than I expected. When you come up close to it, it almost doesn't feel like a real production car. The way that this nose is shaped like a tight cone, and then it just sort of widens in the back. You've got these wide open wheels with the suspension all exposed. You've got these huge, almost, they look like they're big blow molded plastic bumpers. They look kind of like pinchers on a, like, I don't know, some kind of bug. And then the more you look at it, the weirder it gets. I even think this little reflector looks oddly large. I think these headlights are kind of insane looking, the way they're just kind of molded in here. Everywhere you look, I kind of do like this mirror. It kind of flows nicely. But then, you know, the back end, it's like a dog taking a dump. You're kind of arching back there. The taillight's kind of, I don't know, looks a little bit like a piece of sushi or something. Another blow molded looking bumper here. But there's one thing that I really love. This car, Chrysler could not have imagined it was going to sell lots of them. And yet, they designed a custom badge for this car. So, okay, this badge, it says, this is actually a Chrysler Prowler. It says Prowler on it. That's obviously a badge that's unique to this car, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an actual prowling cat on the seats and on the steering wheel. A custom designed badge for just this car, which is very cool. Under these big arches, you've got chrome wheels, which boomers love more than anything. They, I think, would chrome their, I don't know. They would chrome their, I don't know. They love chrome, you get the idea.
You will ride eternal, shiny and chrome.
You look underneath here, you can see aluminum construction. So it's kind of got these interesting aluminum frame rails and a transaxle in the rear, which might make you think, this thing's a sports car. Aluminum construction, a rear mounted transmission, this thing must be a freaking monster. Well, let's pop the hood and see if that's the case. You really get to see how long this hood is. My goodness, it's a freaking football field in length. And this is really cool. You get to see the suspension right here, inboard suspension. And then the strange kind of moment when you see a 3.5 liter V6. Everything about this car screams hot rod. Exposed suspension, a rear transaxle, aluminum construction, and we have a little Dodge Intrepid V6 engine under the hood. Makes about 250 horsepower, and that, by the way, that rear transaxle is a 4-speed automatic. So it's kind of anticlimactic, to be honest. Oh man, I just realized something. These little fender flare things that go over the tires are actually connected to the knuckle here. So the suspension hooks to the knuckle, and then the knuckle has these little bars that attach to these little, I don't know, what do you call these? Flares, I guess, cowlings or whatever. It is cool. I have so many questions still about this. Luckily, I know an expert on the Prowler. I'm gonna give him a call.
What's up? It's Yuri here from Straight Pipes.
What's up, Yuri? Thanks a lot for talking with us. We are about to drive a Prowler, and you're the Prowler king. You're even wearing a Prowler shirt.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I sold my Prowler with the trailer, but I had kids, so I kind of had to. I had to get a minivan, which, you know, whatever. That's life.
Nothing wrong with that. But the wisdom is still here in the brain. You may not have a Prowler anymore, but you are the expert.
So what is it? What is it?
Here's what I know. I know it's yellow. I think it's a Chrysler.
So 2001, they switched from Plymouth to Chrysler when Plymouth went out, and then they were Chrysler Prowlers. So when I bought my Prowler, I needed it to be a Plymouth Prowler.
Why is that?
I like Plymouth. I like the idea that it was a Plymouth. I don't like that it was rebadged later, but I mean, I appreciate that it still existed. Plymouth Prowler rolls off the tongue nicer than Chrysler Prowler.
I know it does. It really does, and I kind of wish this one was a Plymouth. So what do I need to know about this thing? Obviously, they kind of have Intrepid engines, right, with an automatic 4-speed and...
Transaxle is pretty cool. It's illegal to drive it with the top up, so I'm telling you that much right away. It's not designed to be driven with the top up. Is it stock?
It's
like
bone stock.
Or
it
motor?
has like 13,000 miles on it. It's gold.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high miles for a Prowler.
It's 3,000. 3,000, excuse me.
That's like medium miles.
Okay, so that's crazy. That's medium. So tell me about the Prowler. What is the Prowler? If I had to explain it to the layperson, how could I even possibly explain why it exists.
It's like a Hot Wheels hot rod in real life that they actually made, and you could just buy it. People are always like, what year is it? Did you build it? I'm like, no, Chrysler made this in 1997 to 2002. It's like, it's just a weird car. And I think it's like probably one of the last cars that like snuck under some safety guidelines because those little bumpers and stuff. So yeah, just a real life Hot Wheels.
And who was it sold to? Like, who was the customer for this?
Boomers, just straight boomers. And the crazy part is, so all the boomers who wanted one got one. 5 years ago, they started selling them because they're getting old, right? And that's when I bought mine. And then I sold mine this last year, but like, who's buying them now?
Right.
The boomers who already wanted one got one, and now there's no one to sell them to. So like, I sold mine at a loss, which was fine. You know, it's not a Dodge Viper or something, but like, I don't know who's gonna buy these. And they're all in great shape because they're like plastic and aluminum. They didn't rust. And they're all kept indoors in like bubbles. It was a car for boomers, and I don't know who's gonna buy it next.
Well, okay, make the pitch then, okay? Is this a car that an enthusiast should want to drive? I mean, it doesn't have a stick, it's not that powerful.
Honestly, if you liked it as a kid, you should get one, and if not, you won't enjoy it. It's literally like a car to look at, to make kids happy when you drive by a school. Older ladies, older women, best reactions from them. If you like making older women's day, like that's the car.
That is a really niche customer. People who like making older women's day. That is a
and children. And you know what? In the Prowler community, they would order a ton of like, not Hot Wheels, but it was like a different brand of die casts that matched your car. So when you drove by kids, you could give them a die cast of the same one of your. Yeah. When I got my Prowler, there was a little yellow one inside. So Prowler is very good for model cars. Very good for model cars.
Whoa.
Very good for model cars.
Are any of these the
model
same scale?
Cars,
They're all
Hot
different
Wheels,
size.
model cars. I got like 7 different ones in here too.
Good to know. Wow, you're in deep, man. You're in deep.
I am. Wait till I get my second Prowler. Then it'll be a V8. And the guy who I bought my Prowler from, he's the guy who does V8 swaps, still keeps the auto stick. But I asked him about his for cheap, and he's like, "You're gonna have to call my wife first when I die." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking." I'm like, "Can you put me on that list?"
So that was.
You gotta let me know when you sell these two though in the future.
You're waiting for a guy to die. That's. I don't
No,
know how I
he
feel.
brought it up. So it's fine.
Is there any feature that I should be paying special attention to?
Top down, 100%. Don't bother using the shifter. Just floor it, and it'll shift on its own just fine. And when it shifts, it does one of these on purpose to make it feel more aggressive.
Oh,
It'll
really?
just-
The shift is kind of harsh.
No, very harsh, on purpose. And then on top of that, the visors, if you put them down, you're gonna block your view. So you kind of got to tip them back up, and it helps with the wind. And I don't believe that this is bone stock. Pretty much everyone does terrible modifications to their Prowlers.
Oh.
So I assume there's some airbrushing, some chrome, something stupid on it, in my opinion. But if they like it, they like it.
Well, there is some pinstriping on it.
It's not supposed to have pinstriping.
None at all, huh?
Only I think the Mulholland edition, the 2002 dark blue one with the blue top. I think that's the only one that's supposed to have pinstriping.
So you're saying that when these came out, boomers went crazy and they were like, let's boomerize this car.
Even more, like they airbrush waterfalls, there's chrome stickers everywhere, and like they like to remove the bumpers, they like to remove the fenders, but then I feel like it doesn't look right with no fenders.
So I'm about to drive the ultimate boomer mobile.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You really got me excited for this. I mean, between the automatic that shifts harshly, even though it's clearly not, it's not very fast. But the fact that
It's not slow. It's faster than a 99 SL500.
That's not
In
bad.
a straight line.
There we go.
And like off the line, like that. It's not that slow because it's light. It's just not like that good. I guess I don't know. Should have had a V8.
That's good enough for me. You got me excited now. It's not that slow. That's great. Yuri, thank you so much for your time. I'm now marginally more excited than I was before this conversation to drive this car.
Drive by school and drive by a senior's home.
Thank you so much, Yuri. It's time to drive this thing. Griffin, throw your bag in the back and let's roll.
Do we know how to open the back?
Wow, look, can you believe this is the hood release is a tiny little cable here. Like, clearly, whatever's under here is not meant to be used. Whatever space that, well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think my bag's fitting in there, Dave.
Actually, you should try it. I mean, you should be able to fit a bag. Oh, there's no chance. You can fit a jacket in there, maybe. Like, what were they? This is not even close.
Yeah, close it up.
There's just no chance. I would have just closed this. I think I would have just been like, just keep it closed. If anything, this just, well, you got to get the top out. That's the problem. Yeah, this is very pathetic. Anyway, let's drive this thing. If I were tall, this would be a problem. If I were like even just a couple inches taller, I'd be looking at the top of the windshield. Not great. This is the same key as an old Jeep Cherokee or any Chrysler product from back then. Look at that. Look at that Prowler on the key. That is very cool. Hilarious. I'm telling you, your mind expects to hear a sound that's exciting because look at all the gold here, and it's just like you got this tack that looks like it came from AutoZone. You expect this thing to be fast and loud, but it's just not. And yeah, I really have no clue where that right wheel is. Okay, this thing has a total of 22,536 miles on it, so I'm honored. Is the cowl shaking? Am I wrong? Is it just these? Well, that has to be up. I literally can't see anything. I think this is also shaking. I think the whole windshield's shaking.
Yeah, it looks like everything is.
That may be the worst cowl shake I've ever seen in my life. But we got push rod suspension. Don't mind the fact that we've got a basic V6 engine. We've got a race-inspired suspension for no real racing reason. But I like that it's like that. I'll tell you one thing. This is not a good car to drive. This is a car that is good to be looked at, and it just feels a little tight back here. I mean, my left foot, there's really no room here. Like between my left foot, see my right foot's on the brake, my left foot is just kind of crowded here. And you can understand why, because the way that the body is shaped, everything's kind of just tight. I don't know if the camera can quite get this, but everything is shaking, especially the windshield and the mirror. And I'm looking at the camera right now and it's shaking. The cowl is shaking like crazy. It is a strangely constructed car. There's like an aluminum kind of frame setup, and there's a rear transaxle, which is objectively very cool, even though it's a 4-speed automatic, which, by the way, shifts pretty harshly, which I actually kind of like because otherwise this would be very boring. The engine, it's okay. I mean, the sound, it's like you got dual chrome exhaust back there, but it's a V6. And honestly, aside from like the Nissan VQs and like boosted V6s don't sound good. They just don't. They never have. We're going under this bridge here. Let me give her a little bit of gusto and see. It sounded like a cow, kind of. That's what it sounds like. This car does make you feel special. It really makes you feel special. I've been driving this thing very briefly. I can tell you it's not very comfortable. The visibility, this literally has to be up, and then it moves everywhere, and then this is still kind of in the way. I'm told you can't even put the top up and see out the back. The way the body is shaped, my feet are all tight. The automatic and the engine, it's not a driver's car, it's not comfortable, but you know what? It's an irrational car. You can't love this car. If you don't love this car, you are sick. You need to go see some chiropractor, or for your brain, that is. And then go see an actual chiropractor if you actually test drove this thing, because it does not ride very well. It's not that it's harsh, like it's not like it's stiff, it's just kind of shaky. It's just kind of, it's kind of what it's doing. But in California, this is a cool car to drive around. You know deep down that actually this is not that cool of a car because it's kind of like PT Cruiser-ish, but no one else knows. They just think you're in a cool gold hot rod with a push rod suspension. I kind of love this thing. This steering feels like the same steering as like a Jeep Grand Cherokee, like little stiff. It is a rack and pinion, so it's definitely tighter, but actually the handling is not bad. That's the one thing. It's like, it's definitely a little softer than you'd hope for, but you can have fun in this car. I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to review a toy right now. The appeal of this is not anything like rational that a normal car would offer. The appeal to this is like, look, you've got this big painted yellow bezel around your white gauges, and you've got this little AutoZone gauge, and then the whole car looks crazy. It's like, this is a toy. This is a Hot Wheel in real life. And if you approach this car with that in mind, you're gonna be the happiest human being ever. Like, truly ever. If you want a Hot Wheel in real life that everyone stares at, this is the greatest car ever. A closer look at this interior. It's very Chrysler of the era. You know, kind of like this almost foamy looking plastic everywhere. I actually really like this cassette player that was common in, you know, you'd get this in like the minivan or the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Then you've got this AC button in the middle, which is kind of in the middle of which is different. I haven't seen that before. The seats are cool too. They look cool. I don't know what the heck this is all about here. It's not a head restraint. It's definitely not a roll bar. The mirrors are pretty small. They're not amazing in that way. They look good. I think the shifter is kind of strange because it's so high up, the tunnel is really tall, and then the shifter, it's like way up on a hill. It feels strangely high. It's a weird car. Let's give it a pull, huh? Well, you know what? Actually, that is not bad. If you give it enough, that cow back there, like if you give it enough pedal, it's like a cow at least being branded. It's not just a normal moo. It's like a slaughter is like imminent. At the very least, that's what this car can offer. It's got an auto stick function, so this is a minus, no way. All right, the tachometer. Okay. Honestly, it's enough. If I'm like 60 years old and it's like the year 2000, and I need a retiree car and I can't drive my T-bucket hot rod anymore, and I buy this, that's enough motor for me. I'm happy. It doesn't sound amazing, but I'm happy enough. You know, I've got my pension, I got my house, I got everything that the modern generation doesn't have. I'm not gonna be complaining about a freaking weak sauce V6. I'm a happy camper. I can afford this car easily. Okay, let's see, speed bumps. You know, I think this thing could be daily driven, honestly.
Trunk space notwithstanding.
That's a good point. Is this car still cool? Do people who are not boomers, who maybe didn't grow up in the hot rod age, do they think it's cool? It's such a strange car, man. It's just wobbly, wiggly, it moves like a cow, strange seating position, very impractical, no room in the back. If I'm a development engineer on this car, and I'm taking it on the early test drive, and it's just shaking everywhere, what is leading me to say, yeah, that's good, put it into production? Like, that's just crazy to me. Wow, look at that, holy crap, look at that. That's a Lotus Elan. Just, look, this is so LA, look at that. That's been sitting there forever, the window's open, you can see there's dirt and dust all over it. That is crazy. Woo! This thing is a toy. It is an overgrown toy. It shakes, it rattles. It looks ridiculous. Your legroom is really tight. The seating position's a bit off. It's just a bizarre machine to drive. It sounds kind of like a cow. It's not slow, it's not crazy fast. The automatic is an automatic. It's not amazing to drive, and yet I love it still. And it's impossible not to love because it doesn't have to exist. This car does not have to exist, but Chrysler built it anyway. They decided to build something so absurd and ridiculous for boomers. And now those boomers are moving on, and these cars, I'm not sure who's gonna buy one, but to be honest, it's pretty tempting, especially in this color.